Hello, hello everybody. Hello Anna.
Thanks for taking the time to chat today. I have some questions, so let's dive in.
Let's go.
Okay. On I think your latest release, the Gino is Alive
Yes.
EP. Um, what sort of vibe were you and your collaborator trying to create?
So first of all, DZP started from my collaboration with a very good friend of mine, which is Flug. He's a DJ and producer coming from Argentina that is based in Barcelona. First of all, beside the musical respect we are very good friends. And one day, hanging out in the studio, we said, "Okay, man, we know each other since a very long time. We've been playing our music. He's playing my tracks. I've been playing lots of his tracks, and at some point we said, man, dude, this how stupid is that? How stupid is that we didn't make a track together yet? After such a long time, we know each other." And it was like we were like, okay, so let's do it. And we literally spent, let's say, like um, DZP came immediately because we sat in the studio for 3 4 days, let's say, and we did produce these two tracks. And the idea behind these two tracks was to produce something in the middle of house and techno, something that everyone could play, from more techno DJs to more like house influenced kind of artists. So the result was perfect because we got a big support coming from big techno artists, big techno legends, but also from really crossover artists like, for example, Laurent Garnier, Oni Dijon, and techno artists as well, like Ben Clock, Len Faki, and many big techno DJs as well. So actually, the result was exactly what we wanted to communicate with these two tracks, which is a kind of funky kind of vibe. I will call it funky techno, because nowadays, techno has a big range of sound. Techno is a big word, but then it's divided into different kind of multiple genres, and funky techno doesn't exist on Beatport. So let's call it funky techno, and yeah. So the EP came out on my label, Uncage, which is a label that has 7 or 8 years of activity. Sorry if I don't remember, but yeah, it was the perfect platform to release this release because this is exactly the sound we want to release on the label, on the platform. So yeah, everything together was just a nice project.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like the support was super good. And yeah, like speaking a little bit more to your kind of sound specifically. I mean, I guess it's hard to go specific, but that does seem very much a part of your project is just like not closing yourself into just techno or just house or just peak time or just whatever. It's like why is that sort of important to you to be able to sort of like play with different sounds and not just like not just be techno or one thing?
Well, I started as a DJ. So obviously, as a DJ, I did went through different genres of music because I'm DJing since let's say 20 years. Obviously, I didn't start it. This was not my job at the beginning. I started for passion and just to have fun, and I still have fun, let's say. But I started really like digging into different kind of genres, from dance music to house music to hip hop, drum and bass, techno. So let's say that through all these years, I get influenced by different genres of music. So when it comes to produce music as well, having a background, if a background that, let's say, was contaminated by different genres of music, for me is not some people, they just stick to one genre, they just love to produce one genre. Me, because of my background and what I learned during all these years, I feel like it's creative to challenge yourself into producing something all the time different and all the time special and unique. Especially, because what I always say, my goal doing this. My goal is to surprise myself first and be happy with what I'm doing, because I will never one day I will never want to stop my career and say, wow, I was not happy about what I've done, in the last in all these years. So making different kind of music and challenging myself into producing house, techno, whatever it is, it's just amazing. I feel like it's more artistic and creative, the process. So it's what I'm doing since the real beginning. It's a bit more difficult because when you stick to one genre, it's easy to communicate to people what exactly you want to do. But at some point in a long term, I think this is missing a bit the creative part. I think the artist sometimes needs to step out of the comfort, let's call it the comfort zone, well, the place where you feel comfortable. It's nice to step out sometimes, just be creative and follow the flow, follow the vibe, and do whatever you want to do.
What do you feel like is next for you? What's like a kind of style or sound that you haven't explored yet and want to? What's sort of exciting you to try next?
Let's say that into the limits of what I accept, what I love. I did experience. Let's say I did experience almost. I can really say that I experienced almost everything what I wanted to do, because if you go through my musical catalog, you can find from house to techno to ambient to deep house to tech house. I was checking the other day. I have a catalog with hundred of more than 100, 200 tracks. I don't know, and it's all of them are very different from each other. I had this conversation, for example, with Danny Tenaglia during the pandemic. Danny for me is a legend. He's an artist that I've been following since the day zero when I started DJing. Imagine that my uncle gave me a CD of Danny Tenaglia and say, "Oh, you should listen to this. It's good music," back in the days. And I still have this CD. And then I had this conversation with him that he's a legend, because during the pandemic he was like, "Marco, send me some music because I'm rebuilding my set, when we will start to play again." So I'm collecting as much music possible from all my friends and from all the artists I like. So I send him a folder with, I think, 300 or something like that tracks from myself, released, unreleased, everything. And he replied back with a message that it's something that I really loved. He said, "Marco, I'm surprised about the big range of music and different style you have produced, because I went through all these tracks and I can say that all these tracks are different from each other. So your musical spectrum is so large, so big, that it's really surprising to see an artist doing all this kind of music, And I replied that this is just what I love to do. This is just what I love to do. So you can see my music being released on techno labels like Drum Code, Rec Hits, I don't know, back in the days when I was doing more tech house on Moon Harbor, Desolate, until Defected, for example, which is a legendary house music label, let's say, close to dance music. And it's like it's just fun, and I love doing this.
Do you have a favorite track you've produced, or like at least recently, or is it just like always changing, like depending on the mood you're in and that sort of thing?
A track that I produce that I like. I have a few. Thinking about, let's say, thinking about my the more experimental part, the challenging part of the music production, I really enjoyed my album that I released in 2020. It was called No Filter, and it's an album I released on the influential label Records, that is Radio Slave's label, and it's a label that I really respect a lot because they released so many great artists, and they've been scouting also, discovering so many great artists that they became huge and big in the music scene. And this album was really, I think it was the best piece of music I produced. It's called No Filter. Then I released another album which is called Hope, and it's more ambient kind of music, ambient mixed with electronic. It's also something very interesting. And these were probably the most challenging projects I did work on. As I said before, stepping out of my comfort zone and not doing music thinking on the effect on the crowd, let's say, or like just to bang out the dance floor and not something necessarily directed to the dance floor, something just also musical and something for experiment as well. And yeah, and also I did really enjoy my EP on Drum Code. It's called Our Freedom, that contains 4 tracks. And on these 4 tracks, I did really spend a lot of time, almost a year producing them.
Wow.
And musically, technically, and also in terms of sound design, I think this EP was made with a lot of dedication and to the details. So yeah, but I mean, I really enjoyed producing all my tracks, and I can't say anything different.
That's cool. Yeah, another specific track I wanted to ask about was Armageddon on Defected, because yeah, like you said, all the labels you've released on are really iconic, but I personally love Defected because it's just such like a beat house. Like a lot of their releases feel like kind of those like summer festival tracks, but what were you kind of when you knew you were going to release something on Defected, like how did you approach that one?
Well, the idea came from me and a friend of mine, Rico, which is the co-producer of the track. And he exactly said when we did this track was summer, and it was summer, and unfortunately all the clubs were closed because of the pandemic. So we didn't have a chance to play this track on a big sound system, on a big crowd, because I mean, I couldn't give this track the exposure that it deserved at that time. But at the same time, it was amazing to release on Defected, because it was like, for me as a music producer, been releasing all the time on established house and techno labels. Let's say mostly big techno labels. Releasing on Defected was the cherry on the cake, let's say, for me as a producer to release a big house track on the biggest house label. So it was for me like something that I really wanted to do for myself as a producer. I'm proudly collecting all my records on a wall, and I'm like, oh, this is from this period. This is from this period. And then I went darker, and then I went more housey, and then I went techno, and then I went house again. When I read all this, it's like it's fun to read all my musical changes, and every time reminds me of a moment. And this release on Defected reminds me of a specific moment that was that summer when we produced that record. And to be honest, we just made it having fun and trying to produce, as you said, a summer vibe kind of track that could possibly smash every dance floor. Unfortunately, it didn't because of as I said before, because of the pandemic. But yeah, it's a track that is different from all the others I've done, so it's unique. In my catalog, it's a unique track that I've made.
And it's still like, I mean, at least on like Spotify or whatever, it's still like one of your like top stream tracks. So it had its moment.
Yeah, it's yeah that on Spotify on streaming platform it was quite big because it got supported on huge big playlist and it reached almost three I think like almost 3 million plays on Spotify and all the other platforms as well. But um, yeah, it's a catchy track. It's a summer track. It's a track that I mean it makes you have a good vibe, a good time. So yeah, I mean let's say the techno DJs were a bit snobby with the tune, but with the track when I released it. But on the other side, all the tech house producers, it's a completely different kind of genre. They really enjoyed it, and many DJs we got a huge feedback for this release, and obviously it's not the only track I released on Defected. I released another single which is called My Name, with Lolita Leopard, which is a singer based in New York. And then I released a remix of an old track called "Where Is My Phone," which is also released on Defected. So we did release a few different projects together, not only this one. Yeah, but Armageddon obviously is one of the most played tracks on streaming platforms.
And you're based in Barcelona, right?
Yeah, I'm based in Barcelona. Yeah.
So how would you describe the electronic music scene there currently?
In Barcelona, the music scene is just amazing. So I would say, in general, Spain in this moment is on fire. It's amazing. They have so many great festivals, so many amazing events going on here. That it's a pleasure all the time to play in Spain, and the productions, the vibe, the people, the energy is just unique. And concentrating on Barcelona for me is like my second home because I'm coming from Florence in Italy. I left Florence a few years ago, and when I arrived in Barcelona, I was alone with my car and my studio in my car. And when I arrived in Barcelona, when you change a city, it's always a question, which kind of it's like starting everything from scratch, from the friendships, for the studio, for the house, for everything. It's like a new life when you move to a completely new city. So it was a bit of a question. Then I find such a good vibe. All really, my welcome in Barcelona was just amazing, and the hospitality and everything. Let's say I felt home. I felt the same vibe that I have in my hometown, and this is something you're not gonna find everywhere. Yeah, was definitely my career was a good step to do because Barcelona is a big international city. We have in June we have Sonar, which is a big organization of events. There is so many amazing clubs in the city, and yeah, and this is a city where you really can grow a lot artistically, and it's a good vibe for my music. It's just the perfect city, just the perfect environment to stay.
And when did you move to Barcelona?
I moved in Barcelona in 2018 or 2019. Yeah,
Okay, not
20. I
too
think.
long.
Yeah. It's not a long time ago. Then yeah, I moved. I was living in Barcelona. Then I was living in Ibiza as well during the summer because it's very close by, and I was living in Ibiza because I had to play a lot of events on the island. And yeah, so Barcelona, it's since when I arrived here, I felt in love with the city, with the people, with everything that this city.
Yeah. And then Ibiza, like what excites you most about Ibiza? What do you kind of feel like when you're there during the summer?
The island has changed a lot in the
Mm.
last years. Uh, Everybody knows the island has changed a lot. I can't say in a good way or in a bad way, because when there is a change, in everything, there is always a good aspect and a bad aspect of the change. Okay, so the island has changed a lot. I don't say it's better or it's worse. It's just the island just changed. The only place that stayed true to itself and maintained the roots and maintained, let's say, the personality that they had, in my opinion, is Amnesia. Amnesia, it's for me, it's like my home. It's a club where I used to go since when I was a little raver, and dancing in a crowd, and then standing outside of the cabin, seeing all these DJs playing, all these big legends from Sven, from Ricardo, but I can tell you like hundreds of names and big legends that they played in that club, and it's a club that if you go to Amnesia, beside all the decorations that sometimes are changing, but if you go, for example, in the terrace, the terrace is the same like it used to be 10, 15 years ago, the first time I step into the club. And what makes it special for me is that in every corner of the club where I walk to, every different place reminds me of a moment. That's why it's so special for me. If I go if I go in the DJ booth, if I go upstairs, every place of the club reminds me of a moment, and it's something that maybe you feel it's a bit nostalgic, but really it's something that I really loved, and it's not easy with the change. Most people, when things changing, they adapt to the change, and they change with the change. But Amnesia, it's true to their roots, and they maintain. They keep it real, as we say. They keep it real, and it's a club where I'm really enjoying to play. We have different projects. I'm a regular guest of Pyramid, this new event that is on fire at the moment, and I think it's a project that is ready to explode, as you can see from the program as well, and the lineup and everything. But it's just an amazing club, and I really enjoy to go on the island every time, because it's a good environment. I have so many friends, and I lived on the island for a few years, so it's a very special place for me.
Yeah, I'm like, it can't be too bad having to live in Ibiza for the summer.
Yeah, you should come because it's amazing. It's amazing. I can say it's magic to come to Ibiza, and you can feel it's a different vibe, and it's just amazing.
Do you have a favorite club or venue in Barcelona?
Input is my favorite club. I've been playing in the city in many different clubs, where I really enjoy to play, and I really love them and the team. Like Pacha, for example, it's also a great club. There is Barcelona is there is this big event called Branch in the Park, which is also amazing. They're doing so many great events, and but if I have to imagine myself into a club, and a club that looks the way I love it, in terms of structure, sound system, lighting, and everything, and the way the club is, it's Input. Input is my favorite club in Barcelona.
Um, yeah, and what like sort of inspires you creatively, you know, living in Barcelona, having access to all these things and places?
What inspires me? The vibe
Mm,
inspires me because I'm many people, um, let's take an example. Many people loves to live in Berlin, for example, especially techno DJs and techno producers, because they find a certain kind of vibe in Berlin. Some people loves to live in London. Some people loves to live in Barcelona. It depends. I really love here in Barcelona because for the type of person I am, that I'm very, let's say, I'm not an introvert person. I'm very friendly, very open, very like how can I say, super, always in a good vibe. I need a city that reflects my vibe, and
mm,
at least makes me shine. So I love Barcelona because it's a city that makes me shine, makes me happy. It's not that different than the place where I used to live in Italy. I'm born in a little town close to the sea. We have the beach here as well. It's an amazing big city, but you also have the sea. You can, the weather is amazing. It's sunny, and it's for my kind of vibe. It's the perfect city. It's also reflected on my music because I'm not a dark techno kind of producer. I think that the place you live as well somehow uh, inspires you, or contaminates your music somehow. So um, yeah, if you hear my music, there is a bit of Barcelona in there as well.
are there any other producers or DJs based in Barcelona that you're really excited about right now?
Oh, there is so many great producers in Barcelona. The city is, yeah, I mean, I have so many friends and colleagues that they live here. For example, from big artists to upcoming artists. For example, Ali Fire lives here, which is a legend, and it's a very very good friend. Paco Zuna lives in Barcelona. Joseph Capriati used to live here. He just left, but he's planning probably to come back. And we are waiting for him if he comes back. Uh, well, and there is so many great new producers like Flug, for example, Andres Campo. There is so many great producers living here. Also, some great new talents like Swilly, for example, which is a great new name that I really, really enjoy, and I really love his music. He has this kind of funky, old school house, funky vibe, and he actually has the studio next to mine. Yeah, I mean, it's a city that brings new talents all the time,
Mm,
and many people just love to live here. Um, I came to Barcelona because my good friend, one of my friends, Gaetano Parisio, which is an Italian, one of the master of the Napolitan techno from the 90s. He told me, Marco, you should come to live in Barcelona because I think it's a perfect city for you. You should come to live here. I see you living here. So come here. You come here. You will find friends. Don't worry. You're super super friendly guy. And he was right. And he was right. After like a week, I was totally feeling that this was the place where I wanted to spend the rest of my life. So. So yeah, it was a good
mm.
choice.
Yeah, I love Barcelona. It's a beautiful city. It's a fun city. The weather's like California.
I don't see anyone living upset from Barcelona. even when I was moving from Barcelona to Ibiza to spend the summer, and going to Ibiza is exciting, because it's a summer, and you expect to have such a good time, and but yeah, I mean, in Barcelona, I just feel good. It's just perfect. It's just the perfect place for me.
Kind of going back to your sound a little bit, like what are your thoughts, being both in it and outside of it, what are your thoughts on the current state of techno music?
What I think about techno music now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think that there is a lot of confusion.
Mm.
There is a lot of confusion that is basically coming from all the. Wow, this sounds a bit old and pathetic, but it's mostly because of all the contents on social media. There is a big confusion because techno before used to have a certain kind of defined sound, let's say, and now it evolves into something completely different. Nowadays, I see some DJs, some people playing hardcore, gabber music, hardcore, which is 180 BPMs, even like trance and something like that, and they call it techno. They call it hard techno, and this is not techno. This is not hard techno. This is just a completely different kind of music. So the problem is that the contamination of all this into the genre is creating a lot of confusion, because playing techno can't be a war of who's playing faster than the other. You know what I mean? So obviously, if I go in a club and I want to play 200 BPMs, I can go and play 200 BPM. I put 200 BPMs on the CDJ and I play 200 BPM, and then I call it art techno. But this is not art techno. This is just stupidity. You know what I mean? It's something that doesn't make any sense. It's something that is destroying the genre. So if you want to do this, make sure it's cataloged under a different genre of music. So this kind of music must have a dedicated festival, a dedicated club that is doing this kind of music, and because sometimes the promoters, and they just mix the lineup, they just mix artists that they have nothing to do with the other. I've seen some lineups that I was like, what is this? Why are you putting this artist before this one and after this one? And making a lineup is not only about selling the tickets, and it's not only about the hype, or I put this artist there because it sells the tickets. So I don't give a shit about what is he playing. There is a big confusion based on what people play, what promoters are booking, and on what the people understand about the music. So yeah, it's not easy. There is a big confusion. I honestly, when everyone started to go faster and hard, and trying to destroy the dance floor, I decided to stick on on the techno I love, which is techno with a good vibe and some groove. If people remind what groove means, because most of the music, most of the techno music nowadays is just the kick and the bass, but is missing all the mid part, which is called groove. Groove needs to be there. Techno is not only kick and bass and the noise. It's groove. It's what makes you dance. The groove makes you dance. You know what I mean? And this is what I call the sexy side of techno. It's missing. All this part is missing. So I'm trying in my possibilities, and thanks God many other people does the same. Some people they try to maintain techno into certain limits, and trying to maintain it as a pure genre of music. And then yeah, there is some people that they just call it techno, and it's not techno. It's yeah.
I'm glad I
And but
asked that question.
I used to go to raves and hardcore events when I was 14 years old. No?
Okay, and I want to talk about your label, which you've mentioned a little bit, but yeah, what was sort of your vision for Uncaged when you started it?
The key of the project was to open a platform to express my vision of music and also discover some new talents. That was the goal of the project when I started it. Was to release the music I really loved. And when you release on some other labels, I can say it's a compromise, but always the reason is you have to make happy. You need to feel into the sound of the label. You send some music, and I cannot send to Drumco, to Alan Beyer, some random music that I'm producing. I need to send him some music that works for the label. Because this is the mistake many people do. Also, to me, they send me some tracks that they have nothing to do with what we're doing. It looks like some people don't even check the music you're doing on the label. They just send you music, and okay, if you want to sign it, but man, this is not the music we're releasing. So it's very important that people listen before to send demos to the labels. So going one step back. I opened the label because I wanted to release on Uncaged the music that my concept of techno, and which is, as I said before, groovy in the middle of house with some old school too. I call it jacking techno. The name is jacking techno, which reminds me some techno with house elements in there, some old school samples, something that. It's vibey in there. Some vocals, and the other goal of the label was to not release only my music, but also try to dig into some new talents, and give them a chance to shine in the music scene. We did it with a few names during these years. Of course, we did release so many established names, like Radio Slave, Alan Fitzpatrick, Mark Broom, to some very super underground names like Donato Dozzi, that is Italian, is an amazing artist. So we went through some different underground names as well for the quality, but also we did discover some new talents like Genial Richard Jr. that is now releasing music on great new labels, Ackerman. We did sign so many artists from scratch, artists that they didn't have a chance, and we went searching for them, and then we signed them. What I'm doing, some people don't believe that, but they say, "What? Being a dad, being a father, because I have a daughter, touring live, make music." So, and then after all this, you also have your private life. That is. we also have a life, and also you have a label, and you go searching for the new talents, which is a difficult part because you need to listen a lot of music. So what I'm doing is I'm listening almost 300, 400 tracks a week.
Wow.
Which is let's say a day that I spend during my whole week. I have my Alessandro, that is my tour manager, and is helping me a lot with this. We download every week everything that arrives, and I can tell you, we get so much shit music sometimes that when I play it, I'm like, wow, why did you send me this? But we download it anyway because we want to give a chance to everybody. So we download all the music. And I'm spending almost 3-4 hours during a day to go through all the tracks that I downloaded. It's a long process, but because of this, I can proudly say that we discovered some great talents. that now are releasing music, that they play some gigs, they have a chance, and they can, let's say, open their possibilities and their market now. So yeah, I'm very proud of this because I reminded when I started DJing, there was no technology, no way to interact with the artist, to send the demos in this way. I used to send the CD to the office of the label and wait for a reply. That 99% of the times was never coming back. So as I really wanted to have this possibility when I started DJing, and we didn't have it. If nowadays the technology offers the possibility to do this, I want to give these guys the chance that I wanted to have when I started.
So is all of the discovery happening from listening to demos, or like do you go and dig on SoundCloud or any other places as well?
On SoundCloud, people can send the music on our SoundCloud page on Uncaged, and they just drop a message with a playlist, and I'm going there and listen all the tracks. And many people just replied, "Thanks, Marco, for replying these." Many labels they didn't even play the tracks, they didn't even reply, and I do my best. Sometimes it takes some time because obviously it's a long process. And besides this, I'm downloading all the promos that we get every week for the gigs to play. So and imagine, I'm very versatile as a DJ. I love to play from house to techno. My musical range is very large. I don't go in a club and play all the time the same set. I don't like it. It's boring. I just try to build every party a different set depending on the party I'm playing. Not playing all the time the same music. So to do this, I need to listen a lot of music. Obviously, when you play in Ibiza, when you play in Berlin, when you play in London, it's a different vibe. Every city, every club, every situation is different. So I always try to put myself into the situation and try to do my best with the music.
Do you listen to other music? Do you ever get tired of like listening to dance music all the time? Are you like listening to jazz music when you go to bed? Yeah, like.
Jazz music is my favorite. I love jazz music. Besides electronic music, my favorite genre is jazz music, and I listen a lot of ambient as well. For example, I have a playlist also on. I made a playlist on Spotify that is called Marco Faraone Over the Clouds. That is a playlist. Why Over the Clouds? Because it's a playlist I listen all the time that I'm flying. So when I fly, I don't listen to techno. Sometimes I work on my laptop. I do some edits. I prepare my playlist. I arrange my computer. But most of the times, I go listen to some electronic ambient music. Something more experimental, like Floating Points, Boards of Canada, Rival Consoles. I'm just checking my playlist. Fortet, Burial. This kind of music that really makes me relax during the flight and during my chilly moments.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're only listening to dance music, your heart rate must be really high all the time. Just like, oh,
Well, I love listening. I love listening dance music, but most of the times when I listen to techno house, is I'm also producing a lot. I spend from 6 till 8 hours a day in the studio making music.
wow.
This is something I never stop. Some people say, "Oh, now you play. You are you already reach your goals. You playing all the festivals. You tour the world. You did tour the world already." Like, oh. And but I say, I just love making music. It's my I love it as a hobby as well. It's just fun. It's something that I love to do, and I will forever do probably, because sitting in the studio making music, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then so when you are choosing someone to release on Uncaged, like what sort of characteristics do like the artist or song need to have?
How can I choose the artist?
Yeah, yeah. What sort of
Well,
makes this Uncaged?
Hello, the music is the most important thing. I don't really know. I don't, we release some artists that they have 400 followers on Instagram. We release some artists from scratch, from nothing, and that's the most difficult part. What I really appreciate is when the artist, after that you give him a possibility to express himself, first of all, remembers where is he coming from. And the second thing I really appreciate if he keep sending us music, because some
Mm-hmm.
artists after one release, two releases, they think they become Jeff Mills, and they start sending music to other labels, and they start, the ego gets out, and they believe they are famous, and they can do, like, and we always say we will always do the best for you, because we discover you from nothing, from scratch, and we sound your music, and it's difficult for us, because imagine if you have to release a new artist that most of the time a new artist doesn't sell, so you need to promote a lot the music release, make some contents, make videos of myself and other DJs playing the track, collect as much material possible to promote the artist. And as soon as you reach the level, of course, I understand when the artists want to release on some other label. This is also something that I've done. But if it's a release that is making sense for him, for his profile and credibility, I will say, go. It's your turn. Fly. You know what I mean? Fly. If it's a bad label and a bad release that doesn't make sense to doesn't make any sense to do, I would say, why doing this? Because this is destroying your profile, and it doesn't bring you anywhere. Some people make releases on a label because they promise them to play one gig, and then they sign a record on a bad label because they offering them a show. Most of the time this is what happens, because the artists really want to play, but this doesn't make you play, doesn't make your profile strong. It makes your profile looking in your mind strong, but it's not. And the way to build your career is to believe in a project, and try the best to grow up with this project. Uncaged was a platform for many artists to rise and to be discovered in the music scene. Some of them keep supporting us, and they love what we're doing, and we're trying our best to promote them and give them a chance. Some artists just don't remember what we have done for them, and they just disappear. They just don't send music anymore, and then you realize that it was a waste of time. So, but at least we have done something for them. So this is what makes me happy and satisfied about the project.
Don't forget about Marco.
Don't forget where you come from. But in general, because if you remember where you come from, of course you can be more successful. You can become a big artist nowadays. Potentially, everybody can become famous because of a TikTok, of a video, of a track, of something. I can't say how, but some people just become famous, okay? And I'm happy for them. But never forget from where you come from, because if you remember that, this will maintain you to the eye level. If you forget your roots, as soon as you go up, as soon as you go down.
To that point, can you speak to how the club Tenax in Tuscany, where you had your first residency,
Tenax, yeah, Tenax.
yeah, how
Yeah.
that influenced you, like as a DJ and also just as a raver and dance music lover?
Well, Tenax is a club where I really discover the beauty of electronic music. I come from I live, let's say, almost all my life in Florence, but I come from a small town in Italy, in Tuscany, which is called Lucca. It's a small town, beautiful, but it's a very small town, and we didn't really have a music scene there. So when I wanted to have a party with my friends when I was young, let's say, the closest clubs to my area were going to the beach or going in Florence, which was the biggest closed city to go and have a party. So, and that was Tenax, which is a club that runs since 40 years. It's a legend. It's one of the most legendary clubs in Italy. And I can say about Tenax almost the same I said about Amnesia. They maintain they maintain their roots. The club always maintain the name, the credibility, the quality, and of course I went to party at Tenax million of times, and I've seen playing everybody from Laurent Garnier to everyone, just everyone played there, and it's one of the most legendary clubs in Italy. And this is where I felt in love with electronic music when I was young. This is the place where I said, I want to be a DJ. When I see the DJ playing, I said, okay, I don't want to be here. I want to be a DJ. I want to play music. So, yeah, then obviously I went there, and it was, I can say it was like going to school for me. Every time I was going at Tenax, musically, I was learning something. I was coming back home with something, uh, with a moment, with a track, with some inspiration, and imagine that my one of my first releases came out on Tenax recordings. That was at the time was a legend. It was one of the biggest house labels in Italy. The label still exists, is doing well, but back in the days, it was like a big goal to release on Tenax recordings, and I've done it once. Actually, I've done twice. One time with Oni Dijon, with the Oni Dijon remix, but the first time was back in 2008. It's a long time ago, and obviously I was very young. Imagine my first release come out in 2006 on vinyl. We are talking about a long time. So obviously when I was going there, I was going back home, sitting in the studio. That was not a studio, it was like a garage at my parents' house, and I was literally spending my entire day uh, making music with the inspiration I was taking from my old time ravey days at Tenax.
Um,
And I can't wait
yeah.
to be back because every year I play in the club, I play in this club, and it's every day it's like Christmas when I play there. Yeah, I feel it's like Christmas. I feel it's like my birthday. It's something I can express the feeling. It's a place where I go and all my friends are coming to party all together. It's just a party for a huge big family.
What was the first track or tracks that got you really excited about dance music?
The first track that really, oh wow, okay. The first record that I bought on vinyl was a track was JD Plastic Dreams on RS Records. I bought a second-hand vinyl in a little shop in my hometown. That was the first let's say house techno record that I bought. I can't really catalog it under house or techno because it's a bit in the middle. So it makes sense because I love this kind of music. I still love this kind of music. So then I was back at that time. Obviously, in my city, we didn't really have a musical background, so I was digging into the market, into the little markets to find some old records, some second-hand vinyls. And back in the days in Italy, when I started DJing, dance music was really, really big. which is not techno, which is not house. We call it Italian dance music. Okay. And I remember that one of the first vinyls that I bought, it was a track from Prezioso Fit Marvin called Emergency, and it's a legendary Italian dance music track. Okay, I don't know if people knows it outside, but it's in Italy was a huge hit. And talking about why I'm speaking about this one, because now I sampled this record. I did sample this record, and hopefully we are going to release it under officially with the original sample from the original track. Which was an idea. I was in the studio one day. I said, "Well, I should sample this one." It was such a big record, and many people maybe doesn't know the sample. So hopefully, it's coming out. It's coming out by this year. I can't say the label yet, but maybe it's coming out.
Oh, how
And
cool.
and of course, I really one of the most influential. I can't tell you only one track because it's DJing since 20 years. I can't say only one track, but there was so many tracks that really inspired me. Like for example, Laurent Garnier, Man with the Red Face. When I was going at Tenax to party, one track that really changed my game into techno was Paul Walford, Erotic Discourse, and this was a track that really opened my perspective into electronic music, and the most interesting thing and funny is that I played with Paul Walford back to back last week for the Amnesia opening. So well, it's not only the first. I didn't get only. During all these years, I had many great satisfaction by sharing the decks with many artists that I was looking for. I was looking when I started DJing, but specifically with Paul Walford was a special moment because Erotic Discourse, the track that he released on 2020 Vision, probably 15 years ago, was one of the. I was so happy when I bought it. I remember I was so happy when I bought this vinyl and I was playing it. The other day I was thinking that I'm playing with this guy, man. It's crazy, how life is. It's music is just magic. It's just incredible. How can you grow up and succeed into your things, and build up your career and I played I played this track 15 years ago, and me and this guy didn't know each other, and we met last year. We met last year in Amnesia again, and then this year we played back to back, and it was one of the best sets we ever played. So it's amazing.
Fun. I love all those stories of the music coming full circle, like the songs that inspired you and then getting to play with those people. So
But
I
also
think,
imagine when I started DJing, I was 14 years old. I was 14 years old in my bedroom, okay? And imagine after 20 years of music, of gigs, of dedication, of spending all your time making music, and because I didn't bring my career because of a TikTok video or something that went viral on social media. I built up my career making music and playing every gig, doing my best, and really it was a long. It is still a long journey because you never stop. But and it was a very long journey, full of dedication, of sacrifices and time. So it's imagine, like for example, I used to release on the Loco Dice's label Desolat 10 years ago, and last year we played together back to back. And Dice for me, beside the respect I have for him as a person, it's a legend. And also I did play with so many great artists that when I started DJing they were already at the top level. So I think as a music producer, building a career like this, it's the biggest satisfaction you can have. And because you really uh, bringing up a career year by year, and after all this time, you really appreciate every single moment and every single step you're doing. You know, you give every step the right value. You don't say, "Oh, okay, I'm famous. I'm doing." You say, "Wow, it takes me 5 years, 4 years to get here." You know, to play in this club, to release on this label, to play with this artist, and wait, because I still have a lot of goals that I didn't succeed. So I'm still working on it.
Well, so that's my last question actually is what's something on your DJ bucket list that you've yet to accomplish that you would really like to?
um, of course, play into some festivals that I would love to play, because it's a goal as an artist. For example, I would love to play at Movement in Detroit, which is a festival where I never played, and I think that after making music for so long, I mean, maybe one day I will have a chance to play there. Uh, and then also uh, play back to back with one of my heroes, which is Laurent Garnier, and it's my favorite DJ. So obviously, he's an artist that is being supporting me a lot since a long time. He's reacting to every promo we send from the label, to all my tracks. Is really, he is a man. Laurent Garnier is a fucking man. He's amazing. He's an artist that is replying to every email I send him. It's so respectful, he's a real gentleman. Beside the respect I have for him as a music as an artist and as a DJ, I really respect him as a person, and so it would be a honor for me to share the decks with him one day. And so yeah, and then of course keep releasing, and just being happy with what I'm doing. Just stay true to what I love to do. That's the most challenging part. Just be. There is no festival, no gig, no back to back, no track, nothing that can be more important than this. I think that you should be happy with what you're doing. That's the most important thing, because one day if you're not happy with what you're doing, it's better you stop and you leave space to some people that are more happy than you, because this is what the people read. They read in your eyes if you are lying or if you are true, if you enjoy what you're doing or if you don't enjoy, if you're communicating your real message with the music, or if you are or if you're just doing something for the market, for money, for hype, for this is and it's always important to stay true to yourself and do the best to maintain this. This is the most challenging part for a producer, and of course, and being able to produce and release as much quality music possible. That's my goal. I hope I can be forever able to make good music.
That
That's on my
sounds
bucket list.
great.
That's on my bucket list. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Marco. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for taking all this time with us.
Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.